My name is Hoodler, and back with some stream action. I'm joined by MEC, longtime Mooser Evolution, and yeah, we're going to be going over kind of our season recap here, talk about playoffs here a little bit, and go over some news that maybe we've missed the past couple weeks. So I haven't been doing the weekly show a whole lot. Not really a whole lot to talk about after a while. No more sports book. Kind of the same thing I've been repeating um, every week. So I kind of gave up on that thing for a while. But now that we have something to talk about, it's been a really, really long season especially for us captains. We play pretty much every game, so it's been tough couple weeks here. I know with coronavirus and stuff like that, it's been a really, really bizarre time. So perfect timing to bring back the stream and talk about some good stuff. So obviously, hot topic today. I'm sure you can notice on the top left of your screen, Blue Liner, Hall of Famer now, announced as of today. Great job, Finn, on making that cool logo or the picture graphic. So, what are your thoughts on that? That was a pretty cool little thing to get surprised with.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Even as an MEC member, I didn't know that was going to happen. It was pretty much kept under wraps, and that guy well deserves it. What he's poured into this league is unfathomable. Yeah, behind the scenes, playing and doing, he's been around a long time. So well deserved.
Yep. I have only been here for 4 seasons, so uh, it's only really been since NHL 19, I think, is when I came on board in the very beginning. So it wasn't. I didn't really know him that well, and I still truly don't really know him that well, to be honest. But he's it's pretty obvious that he cares a lot about the league, despite what he says sometimes in chat. But he loves the league, and he's really allowed us to have a lot of fun over the past past year and a half. So really well deserved, and even his stats at shoot, I forget what they were. I think he was like plus 130 or something lifetime through the league. So good on him. Congratulations, Blue Liner. Keep doing what you're doing. So we're gonna go over standings here. And I know this might kind of be a repeat of what I was doing on the weekly show, but now we have playoff seeding, so this is exciting. Lightning haven't put in their stats yet. I'm pretty positive that they had won all of those, so I assume that they are now number one. Excuse me. Not really any surprise there. They're going to be matched up, or no, I'm sorry, they have a bye along with the Flames, Glads, and us. Golden Knights. Excuse me. But clearly led by Teaspoon and Embell and Stevie and Luckton and Elegant. They pretty much have, and even I think they have Offwalker now. He's a really good defenseman. So they have an all-star lineup there. All those guys are really, really good players. So not really surprised to see them going first. But following them was the Gladiators, who were directly behind them. So I think it's really cool to see a team like the Gladiators pop up, especially after last season, where the Lightning pretty much ran the table. It was, from the start, it was all Lightning, no chance. It was Lightning and everyone else. This year, not so much. You see the Red Wings play them tough the last 2 seasons. The Gladiators had beaten them. We had played them pretty tough, I thought. But yeah, ultimately they've, even the Flames, I think they lost to the Flames. They haven't. My point is that they've showed a little bit of a kink in their armor, so to speak, this season, and I think that is partly to do with maybe the onboarding of a lot more good players this season that spread across a lot more teams. But ultimately, I think it's really bolstered the competition, I guess, is my point here. So. Do you have any thoughts? Lightning, Gladiators, those 2 teams?
Well, the Lightning have been good. I mean, last season and this season are still good. I mean, you have captains that are just elite level players. The talent, like you said, has been spread a little more. I mean, there was 20 teams this season. You can't have a concentration of all the good players in one spot. especially with the RFA status and all that, taking up bot space and all that. A lot of captains, some captains overbid in the draft, and some had to be conservative, and they had to, but they still pulled it off, man. I mean, both teams. I mean, they're top 4 teams, just nasty, good.
Yep, and it's funny because we're thinking back. I was talking about Teaspoon about this the other day. He is line mates with a former MHLer Lagrange in a different league, and him and Lagrange have been lighting it up. And just to think that they let him go for like what was it, like 20 bods or something like that?
Yeah.
It's just, it's almost stupid to think about how good they could have been. And then even last season, thinking about, Woody was on the team and Lagrange on the team along with Teaspoon and Embell. It was just they're a dynasty almost at this point if they're able to repeat. So there'll be a team to watch out for. The Gladiators, obviously, just a super well-rounded team. Woody and Owen are great together. Bo's on that team. They have not even decent. They have really good forwards. They have Yakov on their team. They have Disney is greedy. They have a really good goaltender. So, really, really good 2 teams right there, 1 and 2, I think. So, moving on here, Flames, and then us, the Golden Knights. I won't speak too much about ourselves, as I never do, but the Flames, I played a few times this season. I think we got swept the first week, and then the next time we split with them. So the Flames are just, in my mind, I haven't seen a lot of them play. Obviously I'm really, really good buddies with Race Boy, but they're a really, really good defensive team. They have a good goalie, I think, in Mason, who can play a lot of different positions. Shelder, Race Boy, Dainty Pup, who is now, I think, Marner. And who else do they got? They got Stokes. They have, I can't think of the Clouds is the other guy. So they have a really potent forward line, and Race Boy can play really good defense. I forget who their other defenseman is that was playing. Stokes, who I was thinking of. Yeah, Stokes is a good left defenseman, I believe he is. He's on my on another league's team. But they're going to be a tough team to play. I would put them right up there again with the Lightning and Gladiators. I'm pretty sure the Flames beat the Lightning once or twice this season, so right there you can kind of tell what kind of caliber team that they're in. They're going to be able to compete, so they deserve a bye. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably one of the better, well-rounded teams. When you have, like with the Lightning, you have good captains with Sheldor and Race Boy, a front and a back top-tier player. You could just build around your own self and really create a solid lineup. I mean, you look at their points; they're pretty well spread out. They don't have many guys. I mean, when you look at the points per game, it's consistent, And honestly, I mean, I'm not going to say that we beat them in a scrimmage match once or anything like that, but it was. Race Boy is such a good dude, and they're a good team. Sheldor, with having his wife having the baby and all that, and they're still a top team. That's dangerous, man. To go through that, I mean, they're dangerous.
Not to mention, I just remembered that they have the one and only in French. He's an excellent goaltender. When I played against him in another league, man, was he on fire, stopping everything. So they have 2 really good goalies now, which was a big problem for them. I think Payment was on their team for a very short period of time.
4 games.
There you are. I didn't even notice you joined. Welcome.
Sorry,
Payment.
I was getting a shower. My bad.
That's all good. But yeah, so you were there for a very short period of time. But they had goalie issues in the beginning of the season. And I think the story with them, as we all know, at least the captains do, is that they had problems come LG time. LG starts, they are forfeiting games a lot. Along with some other teams that just simply weren't able to get 6 together. But that's a little worrisome for me, and I think that Race Boy will have the boys going for playoffs, but it kind of puts it in the back of your mind, like, are they really going to make it all the way through? Are they going to have the availability for all their top guys? We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, one forfeit loss can break a series entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I remember, if I think all the way back to my first, not all the way back, when I think back to my first season with Saginaw, I was with Master and Copper Vision, Hellbent Klein, and Hellbent Ninja. We snuck into playoffs the last game. We snuck in by 1 point. Had to play Hartford Whalers with Sty and Heroic Duck and a few other really good guys. And it was pretty much a wrap that they were going to beat us, but they had to forfeit one of the games. I think it was the second game in, and we had won the first game. So we had surprised them with a win, and then we get a second win right on top of that, and it's like, oh boy. And that's how quick. And we ended up losing, I think, that series 4-3 or 4-2. I think they won like a bunch of games in a row. But the point is that had that caught on some momentum, you could lose the series real quick. And I think you're absolutely right with that, Evil.
yeah. I mean, Legion, an old time MHL guy too. He loves to tell a story about how, he was on a team that was the second best team through the whole regular season. And going to the playoffs, they had 6 forfeit losses in the playoffs, and it just completely derailed them. That was it. They were done. So that's important.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. My opinion would be that will not happen with the Flames. But it does, worry me a little bit heading into playoffs. So, did you have any thoughts on Flames payment?
Well, being as I'm a little late to the party, the Flames are a really good bunch of guys, but I'm a little concerned with availability hurting them.
Sure. Okay. That's fair. That is definitely fair. So, moving on. My team, Golden Knights. I guess all I will say is that we just had a really, really good season. I was really happy that Jules asked me to be his co-captain. And both, just looking at, stats, I mean, we both had really good seasons personally. So, and then even our teammates have been really good. Everyone's been happy, and the chat's been active all the way through. So, really proud. We deserve a week and a half off here. No MHL games after a long season. So, Evil payment.
Honestly, my page is loading right now. Oh, there we go with your stats. I mean, you look at your stats for your players are pretty spread out too. Your points per game. Obviously Jules is an amazing goaltender. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, your second highest scorer is Cougar Hunter, who I'm assuming played some games at forward.
Yeah,
but I mean,
did.
Defenseman, he's a really good defenseman. Cougar's my boy, and he's really good. Senk is Senk. I mean, he's really good. Karma, I've heard a lot of good things. I mean, Hubs is old school. He's good. I mean, you have it spread out too. The top 4 teams, anybody can go anywhere. You got a lot of talent, and it's dangerous either way. But they always say goaltending wins championships. So I don't know.
Yeah, we've.
What's your line?
I think Cougar's been obviously our best defenseman. He's been playing forward against some of the maybe lesser teams, but he, he's the outlet man, right? And Hubs has been excellent. Even the addition of Quinn, man, he's been really good for us so far. And you're right, my wingers, Shotgun and Cynical and Sancho have been outstanding. Karma obviously didn't stick with us for longer than a week and a half, but he was good for a little bit. But yeah, Sancho was kind of his replacement, and he's been obviously a really, really good fit for us. So, payment, any thoughts?
You guys have one of the best goaltenders in the league. I mean, Jules is outstanding.
I'd say Jules, in my opinion, probably the best goaltender in the league. In my opinion.
I don't know about that.
Are you saying that you are? Are you the best goalie?
I don't know about that either.
I'll say one of the best goalies, but yeah, I think we deserve the bye at the very least. So we'll see how it goes from here.
Absolutely.
Coming in 5th, again, the stats are not updated because the Lightning have not put in their games. At number 5 is Rangers, so they are led by St. Gator and Mayers. So they, I had the pleasure of playing them a few times. we had split both times. I think we lost in overtime both times, so we were able to take more points. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, they're a good team. I think they're kind of built very similar to us, where they have a decent forward group. They have some good defensemen, I think, in Jim from Files, and forget the other guy's name.
Lucara.
Is it Lucara? Huh.
Yeah, it's their defense is mostly Lucara and Jim. I mean, they rounded it out with Ekblad, and I mean, they have the highest paid player with AT-43. Mm-hmm. They have Mayers as a captain. I mean, those guys lit it up. I mean, AT is AT. Everybody knows him.
Yeah, Tanaka just plays a very good center game. He's not really focused on scoring points. He's about winning faceoffs, playing defense, and being the outlet man. So, yeah, they're going to be dangerous. Yeah. Satan Gator, I think, is also one of the best goalies in the league. Mayers has been lighting it up. I got to play with some games with him recently in another league, and we had some fun. But, yeah, ultimately, this team's going to be good. They did not make it to through the buys, so they do have a first-round matchup, which we'll touch on here shortly. Did you guys have anything extra?
I'm going to say that their team kind of more back-end with Gator, Lucara, and Jim. I mean, don't get me wrong. They can score. But I think they're, out of the top teams so far, they're one of the more back-end out teams. You know, let the team make a mistake. Defense is very solid. And then they make people pay on the rush. It's a different setup than a lot of other people. So they're dangerous. If the defense and goalie are on, they can do some damage too.
Yeah, and just my time with Mayers, you know, I haven't. And yes, playing against them is different. Everyone knows playing against people is different than playing with them. I think you get a better idea playing with someone. Yeah, plays a very small build, and also he's mostly speed. He's a speed guy. And if you get caught, man, you're not catching him. He has a good skill set, and he obviously one of the better scorers in our league. So,
he'll turnstile your ass fast.
Yeah, not to mention they do also have R8s, who I think has flown under the radar a bit, but he meshes really well with Satan Gator, I'm sure, and Lucara. I'm sorry, not Lucara, but Tanaka and Mayers. So obviously that will be their top line with Tanaka as center, R8 as left wing, and Mayers as right wing. So we'll see. When we play them, we drove most of the play, but again, we did lose 2 games in overtime. So we technically did split, and points don't matter in playoffs. So
exactly.
Moving on, Red Wings. So, we got to play them 2 games recently, last 2 games. So, I had the pleasure of playing them, I think, 3 or 4 times at this point in the season. Yeah. They're in our division. So, they are clearly and I've said this from the beginning, they are a forward-heavy group. Defense is just not that good. Goaltending, astounding. They have a really good goaltender in Gecko. But, they have Hoots and Sophisticated, now Vanny after the trade, and Miniwick as well. Those are the guys that are really going to drive this team, and it's pretty much been the same story. At least when we've played them, dominated the play, Gecko stands on his head and allows them to score some goals. At least that's been the narrative so far when we've played them. But ultimately, I think Vanny is really a good addition for them. And I forget who they gave up. I think it was Heisman Award.
Yeah.
But Vanny fits way better with them. Vanny's a good player. And I think Miniwick and Hoots and Sophisticated, who I think is also a little underrated for his skill set. But they're going to be a good team. But I'm not sure if I see them making it past first or second round of playoffs, just because they just have weak defense, man. Gao, not really that great of a defenseman. Homebrews, not really that great of a defenseman. And I don't even know who the other defenseman is on this team. Pens fan, I think.
I think it's Pens fan.
So, yeah, I mean, no all-star studs on the back end. But as long as they can outscore their opponents and Gecko plays really, really well, they could make a push. And again, they've played really tough against really good teams. I mean, they have technically split with us. We have, even though that we've carried most of the play, I think we're 3-0-3 or 3-1-2 or something like that against them. So somewhere along those lines, they're going to have to play better defensively, I think, as a group. And Hoots plays a small build. Vanny plays a small build. Miniwick plays both. And I know that Sophisticated plays technically a small build. So they're going to have to play defensively if they want to make it out a little bit longer than a first round here, I'm thinking. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at their points per game, they're heavy up front. They're heavy up front. Their back end doesn't score a lot, so it's a lot. Their forwards are going to have to back check harder in the playoffs. Playoffs are different, man. I mean, people, when you play not in the MHL, you're playing drop-ins, you're a little more loose. You get to MHL regular season, you get tight. Your grip gets tighter, controller. Well, in playoffs, that gets even tighter. So the scoring, you can't rely on it. Don't get me wrong, Gecko, really good goalie. I can't knock their defense, but I can't praise their defense. So what happens is you end up with this mid-zone area that's not good. Your crease is good. Your red line forward to their goal is good, but that red line back to your crease, that could be a bad area to really have some problems.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not knocking them. We beat them, and I think we were the first team to take a series from them this season as the Avalanche. I mean, we played good, but they gotta tighten that up. Their forwards are gonna have to back check hard.
Yeah, and I think it, like I was saying, with the fact that they play smaller builds in general, they're not knocking people off the puck as forwards. So, where you see that, I think, come as a really good example is at Gladiators with like a guy like Woody, who his whole game revolves around playing defense as a center. He's just, I mean, he is good offensively, but he cares more about defense. So, Payment, any comments on the Red Wings?
Well, I don't think I played against them actually all season.
Really?
Yeah, I got shuffled around a lot, so I don't think I saw them.
That is true.
I don't remember seeing them.
Okay. So yeah, we'll move on to the Ducks here. Ducks, led by Coherent Killer and Gamer. We played them, I think, 2 or 3 times. I think we played them 3 times. I think the first time they swept us, and then the 2 other times we split with them, and then we swept them. So they're a good defensive team. In my at least in my last couple run-ins with them. Well, I guess the last time we played them, we did kind of put a beanie on them. But having Coherent Killer, he's a good defenseman in general. B-Roos can play any position, as we all know. Shek Diesel, if you don't know of him, is also a really good lefty. And Finn, breaking 200 points. Welcome to the 200-point gang. So congratulations to him. That's really cool. But ultimately, him and Q, who was one of his sleeper picks, he tried to get his boy in here, have been obviously really well together. So they've been working really well together. Maserati's his boy. I could see this team being really good. I'm just not sure if they have the defensive firepower. I'm not sure if they have the good goaltending. Unless Gamer is really stepping up to the plate here. And we see Finn really take over. I'm not sure how they're going to do in playoffs. I really don't have an opinion, but their point spread is spread out. You can tell that they're top forwards just by looking at it. Maserati, Q, and Finn playing well together. When you compare that to a team like mine, my guys haven't even broken 100 points as wingers. So they're going to be good. I'm just not sure if their defense and their goaltending is going to carry them all the way through. I'm a little wary on that, but I think B-Roos definitely helps with that. And Shek Diesel, really good pickup late in the season is going to be one. But again, goaltending with Gamer and Leathery Cow. Simply don't know enough about Gamer as a goalie to really make a good decision on whether or not he is going to be able to step it up or not. But I do know that Leathery Cow, in my experience, has not been great. But do you guys have any thoughts on the Ducks here?
When you look at the stats for the teams, okay, when you look at the goal differential for the first set of 6 teams, the top half, they're all, I mean, except for the Rangers, honestly, they're the only ones that really have a lower goal differential. But the Ducks, they're right on there. It jumps down, so they really have to score a lot in the playoffs in order to stop the onslaught of some of these better teams. Because when you play the lower tier teams, that goal differential can get distorted. You know, you can score 20 goals against a team in a series, and that helps your goal differential. When you play the top teams, that could be huge. Canadian Gamer, he'll tell you how good of a goalie he is. He'll tell you every minute he can. I mean, if anybody's seen the chat, he'll tell you how great of a goalie he is. And he's good. He's good. But I don't know. The problem is, you know, as you and I were discussing before the show about scheduling players, you know, you can't play all your players all games. You're gonna have to play players, and that can cause an issue. They're gonna have to tighten their game up.
Yeah, there's gonna be definitely a game where they're gonna have to kind of play their lesser players here, but overall, I think they have a decent team. I view this team to be at the beginning of the season to be one of the top, 6 teams with VMAT and all that, but they obviously traded him away for some other reasons, and right now they are in a playoff spot, and I think they're going to do all right. I think they're going to do all right here, but they need some players to step up. And from pretty much here down, I think kind of brings in kind of the second tier of our mid-level teams. I think from the Ducks up are our upper-level teams, in my opinion. And then going down here to the Bears, I think is where the talent kind of drops off a little bit. They're owned by Rod and Own Distress. They've been quiet in chat lately, so I haven't really caught up with them lately. But they were all the way through the season my sleeper team, and they ended up making the playoffs. And I think at the beginning of the season, I had them slated out of the playoffs or a bubble team. So just super, super proud of Distress and Insidious putting together a real good team here. Sid. Rod has been a really good goalie this season in NHL 20. So he's been a surprise. But also Korea, formerly known as Sea Turtle, and Own Distress. Own Distress breaking 100 points? Are you kidding me? I cannot believe that. That's crazy. Good on him. So the problem with this team is, I mean, at least in my mind, it's abundantly clear. Offense, man, they just don't have that much offense. Korea is a good player. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. Distress, decent player. Kurtz, don't really know a lot about him, but Kush is a decent player as well. He plays defense. But man, you have 2 guys are just above 100 points in a really long season, and outside of that, their goaltending is below 800, and their defense is just simply not that good. I just don't see them making it out of the first round, and if they do, they're certainly not making it out of the second round against a better team. So what are your guys' thoughts on this team? It's kind of an interesting team.
Yeah, I mean, Own Distress, love the dude. He's a great guy. I mean, I think he took the team the night before or 2 nights before the draft.
Yeah,
and he drafted and created a playoff mid-level team. That's impressive. That's good. I mean, he's a good guy. When you look at the stats, they only have 2 guys over 100 points, and Rod has played some really good goaltending, but you can say that some teams spread their scoring out and spread their team out, but I think they're spread too thin. There's good players, but I don't know if either it's a chemistry thing, or if they just they don't have that top 1% scorer.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of good scorers. They can make a noise. I will say this. I'll make a prediction. They'll get past the first round.
I think they beat us one game, actually, and that was with their worst players. Granted, it was against our B line as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think the first game, our B line, we smoked them like 8-0 or 9-0, and they didn't even want to play the third period. They gave up. They forfeited the third period. But the next game, and I even warned my team, and I don't know how many times I've said this over the seasons now. Game 2 just simply never goes like game 1. It just doesn't.
No.
It never does. And we got beat. We got beat 6-4. They maybe Jules not having the best game, but regardless, they beat us. And that's what I mean, is that they have the ability, even with their worst players, to beat a good team. And that's what it's going to come down to in playoffs. They have to play their bottom guys at least one game in the first 4 games. And against a team that they're lucky they're going to get matched up against a team in a similar skill level. Well, maybe not similar skill level, but they'll be pretty close. That's a tough go, especially when your bottom guys are like bottom guys. Gruesome Grim. I know him from past leagues. I can't say I really like him, but man, he's just not a good player. Just a terrible player in my mind. Fabricius, great guy. He's in the chat. Not really a great goalie. And yes, I do know he has a better save percentage than Rod, but he's also played far less games. And Rod has.
He also played for Calgary.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he did also play for Calgary and still has that. Save percentage. But yeah, they had a surprise season, I think, by making it even to the top page. I mean, it's not even like they snuck in, man. They're in a playoff spot by a good mile or 2. So they deserved a playoff spot. I'm sure that and these guys have been quiet pretty much all season in chat. I have not heard a peep from one of these guys except for maybe Damn Psycho. So I'm sure these guys are going to have it locked down come playoffs. I'm not sure what the mood is in their locker room, if these are guys that are skipping for other leagues or what. I do know that a few of these guys, Mr. Kush, Kurtz, Korea, the guys all play LG. So not sure how it's going to work out for them. I know that they have forfeited a few games, so maybe I'm mistaken on that. I'm not sure. But do you have any thoughts on them, Payment?
Owen picking Rod as a co-captain was probably a very good move. He's the best co-captain I think that anyone could ask for. He was my co-captain with the Wolves when we had them back in season 38. Mm-hmm. As far as goalie goes, I mean, he's still developing as a goalie, so I mean, it might be tough for him to, this will be his for a full-time goaltender. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes for him.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So they're going to be matched up against the Thunder here. So moving on to the Thunder, not too far behind in the standings, who made a surge recently, captained by Scrub and I can't think of his name, Felty Pack. Another team that's they have a really good forward line, Big Rig, Barstool, and Minesweeper. And I remember talking with Scrub about this, where their stats, man, you don't have anyone above 100 points. Not looking too good offensively, but you have to remember that these guys, Barstool started on a different team, Big Rig started on a different team, and Jester Race, who is an absolute stud, part-timer, mind you, only played 11 games. But you have some guys that can be very good. Superstar, obviously an excellent goaltender. And Barstool, Minesweeper, and Big Rig are going to be a decent forward line there. So I think that they're going to be okay come playoff time. We're going to talk about the playoff matchups here very shortly. We're not even going to actually talk about... well, actually we are. So we'll get to it here in a second. But regardless... Scrub, I'm not sure if he's playing goalie. I don't think he is with Superstar. He might be playing a game or two, but I think Wisco Redley is his backup. I believe he's the goalie. But yeah, they have 2 really good goalies, and Scrub has been playing defense. He's an okay defenseman. I think he's getting better. Gru is an okay. I think he's a forward. I want to say
left forward, left wing, lefty.
And then the rest of these guys, I don't know. I don't know Fat Bum or Zukri. So, they're okay team. really truly middle of the pack in my mind by definition. But Minesweeper is an excellent face-off guy, and Barstool and Big Rig are really good forwards to support him. So we'll see how they do. I don't really have an opinion on their season because I think they are. Well, I will say that they were out of playoffs at one point, and they made some big trades, and they got into playoffs. So they, Scrub made and Felty made some good trades to propel them here. So, do you have any thoughts?
Complete back end out team. They play from superstar out. When you look at the standings again, this is where it really drops off in goal differential. I mean, you went from 3 teams before being 108 plus to 15 plus in goal differential. Mm-hmm. So they play goaltender out, and defense can win. Don't get me wrong, defense and goalie can win, but the forwards have to be there. And if they miss 1 or 2 games on offense, they could be in jeopardy. And I love the guys on this team. Superstar, Hall of Famer. I played on teams with them way back in the day. But Sweep, I love Minesweeper. He's an awesome dude. Gru's awesome. Great people. They just got to work together, and they got to start scoring. Otherwise, their whole thing is in jeopardy round 1.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that defense can win, but you can't win if you don't score. That's another problem. Like Hoogler was saying, they don't have really a lot of offensive firepower. I mean, that's kind of a problem for them. And as far as Scrub playing goal, he'll throw Felty pack and goal before he plays goal.
Yeah, he's not playing goalie. But yeah, good points really all around. Not really a whole lot to touch on, but yeah, they clearly Superstar is their best player on this team, coming in second in save percentage. So, and even Wisco Redley, shoot, man, he's right behind him. So in save percentage wise, so goalies gonna be a really big deal, and Barstool, Minesweeper, Big Rig, they're gonna need to step up. And then kind of another team, man, Gru, Zukri, Fat Bum. Not really sure how they are as players too much, but they're going to have to play them at least one game here, so we'll see. Moving on, Oilers. We had the pleasure of playing them our first time and only time this season, and did not go well for them. They are led by Iverson and Koopy Poopy, and also Lil Uzi Skirt. Victory is mine. Has had a pretty good season as well. But ultimately this team is, I think, a little underrated. They are another team that is offensively built. Their goaltending is very subpar, and their defensive pairings are subpar, but their offense is good. Iverson, good player. Lil Uzi Skirt, good player. I think Dreamer is highly underrated. I got put on his team with on Hidrats League actually, and he's been a stud, man. The kid, he's not a guy that's gonna dangle through everyone, but for a guy like me who likes to hold on to the puck a lot, he likes to pass, and he's good at it. So he, that's probably why you look at his record here, or his stats rather. And 35 games, 53 points as a forward. Especially in this league where it's a little bit more offensive heavy, not very good. It's not even 2 points a game, not even close. But he plays a very defensive game, and he passes really well. So he can be someone you have to watch out for. But yeah, again, Backpage Rob, Clumsy Ninja, Colin Ellie, they have a very subpar team, literally from Crazy Yeti Killer down. I don't think they have a great team outside of their top guys. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I remember at one point in the season, I think they were on like an 8 or 10 game winning streak, and they were going good. Then something happened, and they went down, and they're starting to back up. And when we played them, I mean, don't get me wrong, when we played them, they destroyed us in goals. They can score.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said before, you can't rely on one thing, man. That back end can get really suspect, and you may score 8 goals, but if the other team scores 10, you're out. That's it.
Yeah, Koopy Poo. I mean, I think their forward line is going to be really good, but this is again, I keep repeating it. you're gonna have to play, or you have to play. And if the captains don't know, the rule is that you have to play your players at least one game in the first 4. Okay, so that way, if you got sweep, you can say that everyone got to play. But that the problem with captains is, teams like this where, don't get me wrong, I love Collinelli, great guy, but he's just not that great of an NHL player. And when you have to play guys, Backpage Rob, Tango, play your positions, I don't really know these guys very well, but, they're not very good players, when I've played against them. And it just sucks because you have to play them. So eventually they're going to have to play them, and because they have a little bit lower seeding, they're going to have to play a better team. So this is a really big deal for them, and they're going to have to hope that their bottom guys really step up, and also that their defense and goaltending steps up a little bit just in general. So, Payment, do you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So the last 2 teams making it into playoffs here, Sharks and Ice Hogs. Sharks, who, as Hollywood pointed out, I'm pretty sure they forfeited the last week. It's not looking good. Looking at their lineup and their roster, you'd say, wow, they have a really good roster. They have Costa, they have Renton, they have Chucky and J-Hubs and Brooksy. Yeah, Furry Pujols, who's a decent, backup guy, I'd say. I don't know how this team finished in 11th, and the short answer, it's a rhetorical question. I do know why. It's because that their availability sucked, and when you have your top guys who are more worried, obviously, about different leagues, which is normal, that happens in every league. That's just the way it is. But come playoff time, going into playoff with this forfeit streak going, not a good look. And when you have a team that's really built to maybe make it far with some really good offense, you have a good D pairing in Costa and Renton, you have some decent goaltending in Darius, who had some struggles due to a broken controller early in the season. J-Hub's also an excellent goalie, I forgot to mention, if they play him there. But again, they have a team that's built to go far, and this is going to be kind of like the Flame situation. Availability. If they have the availability, they have a chance. And I think this is a really good team to match up with who they're going to match up against. So this is a really interesting team to talk about, I think. What are your thoughts here? I mean, you have 2 guys that are like in the top 15 in scoring, right? And then a guy, J-Hubs, who not only plays goalie, but is almost at 100 points. So,
yeah, I mean, that's an anomaly in itself right there. J-Hubs, 826 save percentage and almost 100 points in one shutout. I mean, he's the player. I remember that trade. It was huge. But, and Darius, love the guy, good goalie, really good goalie, but you got to get a team on the ice. And isn't Costa part-time?
Costa is part-time, but as we I think we're discussing, maybe Payment could shed some light on this. Looking at the rules, it says that the minimum games do not apply in the playoffs. So does that mean that you can play your playoff part-time guys as many as you want? There's nothing to say that you cannot.
Maximum is still the maximum, but so you can only play your part-time guy 3 games, but as far as minimum, that does not apply.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they've got to at least play 1, but
understood.
Breaking up.
No, I heard her. So yeah, she said that the minimum game, the maximum game still applies. So 3 games in a series, which is still half the games if you make it that far. Yep. That's a pretty big deal. So this team can make it far. It's unfortunate that they landed where they landed, and it's been the same story all year long. They just have bad defense, man. Till recently, at least. ODQC and Just Donnie, Furry Pujols, not the best defenseman. But again, Furry is a backup in my mind in this league. BC Ren's a little bit more of a solid full-time defenseman, especially in this league. He's been around a while, in that 15 to 20 baud value range for a lot of people. But they're going to need to focus on defense. They have the offense and then the availability thing here. So I'm really excited to see their first round matchup. So we'll move on here. Kind of taking up a lot of time here. Didn't even realize it's almost been an hour. Last team, Ice Hogs. So they were the only team to make playoffs with a losing record. They are captained by Zero to a Dab, and I can't even think of his name. Surprise me.
Yep.
So their top guys are Wake, who I play threes with pretty frequently, Zero, and Pog. Surprise me. I mean, shoot. These guys are just, they're just not really that great of a team. They're kind of a meh. They're okay. And they're going to struggle. Their first round matchup, they don't have enough offense all the way around. They don't have enough defense. Their goaltending is pretty good. I think Sir Puffington's a good goalie. But ultimately, they just don't have enough to get it done. I'm glad that they snuck in. That was cool. I think Wake deserves a chance. He's been clearly their best forward by a mile. He's played less games, 6 less games, and leads his partner by 24 points there. So doing really well for him, but he doesn't have any help, and I'm not sure if he's playing center. I'm sure he's playing right wing, but surprised me. Lackluster season with only 56 points. That's been slightly disappointing considering what last season he went for 42 bods. So tough look. Yorktown, Moops, and they're all pretty average players in my mind. So what are your thoughts here?
I mean, for a team to literally sneak into the playoffs, I think the last 1 or 2 series and literally got in because of OT losses had given more points.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're in. They're in. I mean, you make it in, you make it in. I'm not.
So you're saying there's a shot.
You're saying there's a chance. No, but like they when we played them, they were good. They were pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't call them a top tier team. Obviously, I wouldn't even call them mid-pack. But anything can happen in the playoffs. But I don't see anything past first round for them. I don't. And they can still take pride in the season they created. But they're not making it past first round.
Name it.
I hope you feel better. My goodness. They were another team I don't think I saw all season.
Yeah. So take my word for it. When we played them, they actually played us pretty tight. I think it was like 3-1 and 6-1. But yeah, they're not gonna do anything in playoffs in my mind. And I hope that they prove me wrong. I love a good upset. But the team that they're going up against is going to be a tough battle. We're not going to go in depth about the rest of these teams, except for Avalanche, and you're on the Swamp Rabbits, correct, Ament?
That's
Railers, that's right. So you guys can talk about your seasons, but for the most part, Everblades, we know the story there. Both the captains ended up quitting. Really unfortunate because they could have been an excellent team, I think, had both captains stayed. But just really unfortunate. They couldn't make it in. Avalanche, you guys beat us technically twice. You guys had pretty much the same thing going, and you guys did not quit. How'd the season go?
We had a lot of I don't want to call it drama, but a lot of uneasiness after the first week. Notorious had to do his thing, Master had to do his thing. But I mean, we had some guys that could really score, and eventually with the trades like Peck, Bartlett, Hockey Mike, Jay Resnick. I mean, those guys tore it up front. I played every position I could to try to help. I mean, and I'm going to say this right now. LD Lucky, others known as AO Lucky, that guy is a stay-on defenseman. Don't overlook him next season. Captain Chiba is an amazing goalie. His stats don't show it because we kind of let him down a lot. And And Toothless Redneck, he can play goalie. He's pretty good. But we got started behind the 8 ball, and it just didn't work out. And I just want to say thank you to my team, man. They stuck it out. We didn't forfeit any games, and they just they put their heart into it. And just thank you guys.
Yeah, Bartlett, also known as Matthews, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so his name was Matthews34. I played against him in a different league in LG. He was okay, and we got to play you guys against one game, and we lost in overtime 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that.
Was it a triple or double overtime?
I think it was double or triple overtime.
Double.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys have a really good forward line. I think with a lot of these teams, it comes down to the defense, ultimately, if the forwards are not playing big builds and the whole focus is around defense, you have things like this where you have four guys that are above 100 points and no defense. That sucks because it wasn't even close. And your situation's different. But it does suck having those really good players and not being able to compete after the season's done. So, yeah, definitely props to you. I'm sure you'll be in talks for a Jack Adams here very soon in the next couple of weeks. So, Payment, any thoughts on Avalanche?
Just that Evil did a great job taking the reins, and good job, Evil.
Thanks.
That's so funny. All right, so Railers, this is your team, captained by Blue Liner and Piggy. Piggy, I'm sure I think he had some work stuff going on. He couldn't really play a whole lot this season. Yeah, the thing is that they actually had a decent team, but just another team again. Just not enough defense, and their forwards just weren't able to get it done. Ultimately, they don't have anyone close to 100 points. And Heisman Award got all of his points with a different team. So I think Bunkum-Wright and Orbit Save and Mox, those would have been really good teammates up front. I think Orbit Save is a right wing or a left wing. Mox is a winger as well. Blue Liner, Billiams, Born in a Storm is a decent center. Danker, I forget what he plays. I think he's a center too.
He's a winger.
Okay, so he's a winger, but he is a forward. Ultimately, just not enough firepower up front, which is surprising because I think Orbit Save, who I previously thought was not that good, is now an excellent player, especially for this league. He's definitely has some moves now. He plays a smaller build. He's tough to get after. But, yeah, just not enough firepower up front and ultimately not enough defense around the goaltender that you guys have. So, Payment, thoughts? Your team this season.
Well, I came to them right before the All-Star break and did have other options as a goalie to look for as a goalie, but ultimately he chose me, and I'm happy he did. I was traded twice this season, and that's never happened to me before. But, they were a good group of guys. They were fun to play with. They were easy to play behind, except for Blue Liner scoring on me every now and then. But
he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose.
Every defenseman I've ever played with has done it to me. But, yeah, they were a lot of fun to play with, and I would definitely play for Blue again. He's really laid-back captain, and I was very happy to play for him. Yeah,
pretty good wrap up there. I think Piggy, if he was able to play more, maybe could have propelled you a couple spots up. I think Piggy is one of the better players, especially defenseman-wise. He's come a long ways since I've played with him, at least. Yeah, so the bottom teams here, Swamp Rabbit, Sabres, Griffins, Royals. We could kind of lump them, I guess, in the all same category. Sabres and Griffins have forfeited like a million times the last 2 weeks. Swamp Rabbits never forfeited. Good on them. They've been great captains, actually, so I'll give them a shout out there. Just not a good team. And same with the Royals. Yeah, Phantoms never forfeited either. And they gave, at the very end, man, they gave some tough teams some runs there. I know that they lost some close games. I think they beat some good teams. I forget who they beat. It might have been the Thunder one night.
They beat us one game.
Yep, they beat you guys. I think they took us a 3-1 loss one of the games that we played them. So, yeah, man, good on them for just sticking around. I mean, that's a tough season. 4 wins and 64 games essentially. That's a tough break. And just to stick around and not quit and not forfeit one time, wow, that's pretty cool. So.
My husband runs that team, and they seem to always be having fun. I mean,
yeah,
that's.
I would imagine it's at that point when you know it doesn't matter. It has to be fun, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have players playing. So, we're gonna move on to player stats here. Top players so far. I know there are some stats that are not entered. So guys like Teaspoon, his points are not accurate right now, but he's actually even higher what he's at. So I'm just looking at the top 5 here for players. I'm actually, you know what? Let me go to the stats page. I'm gonna do that. We can talk a little bit more about that. And then we'll move on to playoffs and wrap up here. I know we've been going for about an hour now. So starting with the goalies, Jules copping it off with the best save percentage in Moose, followed by Superstar, Wisco Redley, and Gecko and Mullet. Wisco, you can maybe put an asterisk next to that, but he's only played 11 games, but still can't take anything away from 84 save percentage. So good stuff on his part. Any thoughts on the goalies this season?
I will once my page loads.
Yeah, I was about to say you're
All right, I'll go. Jules,
Okay.
Jules is a really good goaltender. That's obvious. Superstar, Hall of Famer. Wisco, I don't really know much about. I'm gonna be honest. Gecko, he's really good. Mullet hates playing goalie, but he's good at it. And then when you look at the wins part of it, I mean, Sidious and Gino, although not in top save percentage, have a lot of wins. And Gator, I mean, it's a good crop of goalies across that way. Solid. I mean, I play goalie, and this game is hard. It's not as easy as you think. You got to be square and you got to be reactive at the same time. So these guys got it. They got good teams in front of them, but they also help their teams win. It's not an easy night for anyone.
Sure, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think in my mind, goals against average, best one goes to Jules, best save percentage goes to Jules, most wins goes to Jules. And yes, you're right, definitely a decent team in front of him, but he's been really good this season. I think he's capped him off a little bit ahead of the competition by maybe not a mile, but maybe by like a quarter mile. A little bit of a gap, but either way, Superstar, at least the clips I've seen of him have been absolutely unreal. He's been super sick watching him play. Gecko, I've played against him 6 times so far, and man, he's just, and I still remember it. The one game they absolutely whomped on us. So Jules did not play very well. Our defense didn't play very well. I think it was like 7-1 or 6-1 or something like that. And in the second period, I literally had a wide open net. And he dove across, made an excellent save. It's somewhere in the highlights channel. If you haven't looked at it, go check that out. But yeah, Gecko has stood on his head a few games against me and our team, so he's been just a rock solid goalie. Elegant Mullet, I think everyone knew coming in that he was going to be a favorite for best goalie in the league. But yeah, really good stuff by a lot of these goalies. We definitely have a good crop of goalies this year. Moving on to defensemen, once this page loads, of course.
Good, then I can talk now.
Oh yeah, your turn. Forgot, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thanks. As one thing as far as Jules goes is Jules also saw 877 shots.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, he had an outstanding season.
Yep.
As far as I'm looking at, like, goalies with the shots against, Satan Gator over 900, Jules with 877. Rod had more than 700 fired at him. I had 686. Darius had over 600. Chiba had over 600. That's a lot of shots.
Mm-hmm.
For the season.
And not to mention, I mean, the most shots, but even like Satan Gator And Jules, I mean, also one of the best save percentages. So I think really cool.
Yeah, their save percentages are way better than mine.
Yeah, well, I don't even know where yours is at. You're okay, so you're at 777. So good stuff. Yeah, they definitely a good crop of goalies this year.
We have an outstanding goaltender core in this league.
All right, defenseman. So this is done by plus minus. This can be, and I think, yeah, I was about to say. So now it's done by plus. Okay, so yeah, when I open it up, it's done by plus minus. Got it. All right, so yeah, this is done by takeaways and giveaway percentage here. So right now, Kosher Warrior, with 1 game played, has the highest takeaway and giveaway percentage. So yeah, I'm not going to go by that. I'm going to go by plus minus. Luckton, number 1, 147 plus minus, unreal. Gao with 94, Cougar Hunter with 93, Georgia Boy and Hubs all behind him with 90 and 89 respectively. A lot of good defensemen this year. I mean, pretty much everyone on this list, maybe besides 1 or 2 people, are really good defensemen in this league. So I think this is maybe a little bit better of a stat to go by. But yeah, congratulations to Luckton on the outstanding season. He has the most points as the defenseman. Cougar doesn't count, either just knife in your guts and also Mr. Cush, because they all played forward. Luckton does not, so that was really cool to see him do really well. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to score 28 goals on 115 points. I mean, he's on a great team, don't get me wrong, but he's got a lot of high skill. To score 28 goals as a defenseman, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's
that is
really good.
Yeah, so that's Luckton got to play with them for a short little bit in a different league, and he's he has some skill, man. He definitely has some skill as a defenseman. So he'll be a guy to watch out for if you're playing against him. He'll, if you don't play against him that often or haven't, he likes to hang on to the puck there and make some moves. So he's good at it. So very similar to that of like Costa in the zone, or maybe Disney is greedy, where they like to take the puck in and take a shot, get a good shot on. So he's been really good. Payment thoughts? Killing me, Smalls.
Sorry. I mean, defenseman wise, I mean, Luckton is the best out there. He's got the.
I think just to give a quick shout out, Georgia Boy has been an excellent addition. Even though yes, he has played some forward as well. Only one of my defensemen that has not has been Hubs and Quinn Man so far. But yeah, Georgia Boy's been real good. Race Boy is the man. Off Rocker has been an excellent addition to Luckton. He plays left defense, so and even Tragic. He's played alongside Race Boy most of the season, and when I've played against him, he's been pretty good. So yeah, there is some. I think even though this is a more forward-heavy season, I think we do have some really good defensemen in this league. Aside from that, it's a little, maybe misweighted there. I think there is more better better forwards than there are better defensemen. And I guess you could just say, well, that you only need 2 good defensemen, but yeah, I think these guys, pretty much everyone on this page, had a really good season. They're all really good players in my mind. So moving on, forwards. Teaspoon, myself, Finn, Owen, Mayers. I'm going to open up the rest of these here. All right. So, yeah, looking at points here. 3 guys cracking 200. Quite a few cracking 100 here. So, yeah, about, 27 guys cracking the 100 club, too. So, yeah, really good forward-heavy group this year. Spoon, just, unreal. I think this is the most points that has ever been scored in a Moose season. So he previously had the record at 237, I believe. And even with games not in yet, he's still way ahead of that. So he's had a real good season. I've had a really good season. Really proud of my play this season. So that's been fun. Finn cracking 200 points his last game, so that's really cool. 131 assists, the most assisted Moose. So he's been just lighting it up. And I, to be honest, didn't expect it from him. I thought he would be maybe a second page player with all the talent that we have this season. But yeah, he's been a really good surprise, really good player. 4 points per game. Owen, 188 points. He had jumped me there for a short bit. I think he has skipped some games, but regardless, really good job on his part. Also, maybe a guy I expected to be at the bottom of the first page, maybe the second page. But yeah, he's been tearing it up. Mayers directly behind him at 187. He's been real good. Stevie, Ambell, goes without saying. They're playing with some really good players, but regardless, they're by themselves. They are excellent forwards. And then, of course, Woody I talked about, who has really stepped up his point production, who was at the bottom, I think even on the second page at one point. But he is now number 8 at the end of the season in scoring, so good on him. And Frosty, who has quit, won't talk about him. Brooksy, and then your buddy, Jay Resnick. I think out of all the people on this page, I'd say Jay Resnick is by far the most wild card player on this page. No idea who the guy is. Never played with him before. But 140 points obviously goes without saying. That's an insane season. 3 points per game, really productive. So Q, Maserati, obviously a part of that really good line with the Ducks, both at 134 and 133 respectively. And then Koopy and Miniwick. Koopy, obviously the assist man over at the Oilers organization, 87 assists at 44 goals. And then Miniwick, who is slightly underrated. I think he came into the MHL last season, was his first season. Also a captain, but yeah, he's been a good little player, man. He's improving a little bit per day. You know, he's not the guy that's going to take it, end to end. He's not going to create a whole lot of space, but he's just a decent player. He just plays the position well. I do notice that, at least when I've played against him, that he takes a lot of penalties in the games that I've played against him. But yeah, good player, good on him. Great season. What are your thoughts, guys?
Top scorers are top scorers, and because they have skill, and guys like Resnick is a guy that I think not just him being one of my guys, but he's gonna score a lot for this league. Miniwick has gotten better and better. He's moving pucks. I mean, Teaspoon is Teaspoon. I mean, you got a lot of players that are just top tier and they're separating themselves, and there's other guys that are going to get better. Obviously, by the time we go through another season, NHL 21 comes out.
Right.
But I mean, guys like that have been up there are up there because they have skill, and there's guys that are improving that are going to sneak in there. And I like seeing the guys sneak in because it makes those good players have to play better.
True.
And
yeah.
Makes the league better.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. I think Teaspoon, obviously, for the past few seasons, even game to game, has been the top goal scorer without a doubt. So. Just a point generator in general. I had kind of my leap up year here. Haven't really produced this well in this league until now. So last season I had a good season, but and obviously stats weren't recorded, so I don't really know where I ended up. But at the end of the day, I had an excellent season, and I'm really, really happy with the way I played. But yeah, I think like you said, people like Owen and Woody and Jay Resnick, Brooksy, it's Q, Finn. I'm not sure how long Finn's been around, but you can kind of see maybe a new wave of players. As long as they stick around, that could be the new MHL guys, right, that are scoring goals. So, Payment, thoughts?
I mean, just like Evil said, top scorers are top scorers for a reason. I mean, and Spoon is just ridiculous at it.
Yes, he is a very, very good scorer.
Yeah, he's probably the only forward in the league I'm afraid of.
True that. Yep, he is a very, very good forward. Yeah, let's move on to the extraneous stuff. Dots, Minesweeper, Finn, Wick, Maserati, and Kush, all the best in the dot this season. Pretty well separated by Minesweeper, almost 62% in face-off, so good on him. Hit leaders, Gao takes the cake at 357 hits, followed by me, Woody, Raceboy, and Iverson. I was really hoping to take home that hit title, but not this year. And then Sinbin Gang, finally. I'm not number 1. I'm not even number 2 yet. I'm now number 3. Thank God. Thanks Show for taking over that for me. Thanks Show is now the Sinbin Gang leader of the season and only played 24 games. But I will say that he has had about 2 fights every game that he's played in, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But yeah, Sanksho, Mayers, myself, Gao, Yakov, all lead in that category. So now we get to the fun part. We're going to talk about playoff matchups and our first round predictions here. So I'll start with myself. I have a little notepad pulled up here. So round 1 matchups, we have Rangers and Rockford. Okay, so boy, Rangers and Rockford. I mean, it's just there's too much skill gap there. I'd say that the Rangers are probably going to win in 4 or 5 games. I'll say 5. I think that they might be able to have Rockford maybe beat their B line or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Tanaka just too good of a center against Zero, and even that their wingers, Mayers maybe a little bit better than Wake. The matchup just works in Rangers' favor all the way down the lineup, and I don't see them having any trouble with Rockford. What are your thoughts, guys?
5 games.
Yeah, Rangers in 5.
Okay. Yep, I agree with that. So now, probably in my opinion, the most anticipated matchup of the first round would be the Red Wings versus the Sharks. Man, this really comes down to availability. These teams are built so similarly. They have, I think the Red Wings have a better goalie, but I think the Sharks have a better offense. I also think the Sharks have better defense. But again, I think the Red Wings goalie is simply way better than Darius. I think Gecko is a far better goalie. But I think that the Sharks have slightly better offense. I think they have better defense just in general. And this, again, comes down to availability. I'm just going to assume full availability at this point. Boy, I would have to give it to maybe the Red Wings in 7. I think the Red Wings are good enough offensively, Vanny and Wick and Hoots. And it comes down to it, I think their forwards will play more defensively as a unit, and that's going to be really, really important. Again, with the small builds that they play, sophisticated, play small. But I've seen them play big, and if they do play big, they can be okay defensively. Gao and his partner are going to need to tighten up. Gecko needs to play really well. But yeah, for the Sharks to win, they're going to have the full availability, first of all. And they're going to need to have, I think Darius is going to be the difference maker. I think that their roster, their skaters are slightly better than the Red Wings. But I do think that the Red Wings goalie and Gecko is just better. I mean, I think that the Gecko, if anything, if they have a bad game, the Red Wings, that the Gecko is going to be able to keep them in it. So I'm going to give the nod to the Red Wings in 7. What are your guys' thoughts?
Someone in 7. I don't know which one, honestly. I'll say it's probably my best want to see as a goalie matchup. But if availability is not a question, I don't know, but someone in 7. I really can't pick one.
Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah, I think they are they're just so built similarly. That's it's hard to really pick one. What are your thoughts, Payment?
I'm gonna say the Red Wings.
How many games you thinking?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
My guess is that it'll go 7.
Yeah, that'd be my
But
guess
I'm gonna
as
say
well. I'd say regardless of how many games, I think the Red Wings will win, but I do see it going a very long series. So, Ducks and Oilers. This is also an interesting matchup. Now, I do think that the Ducks have the better team, but the Oilers clearly have a good forward matchup against the team that also has really good forward line. So this is going to be an interesting matchup just because they have Gamer playing goalie, and the Oilers do not have a very good goalie, and statistically they have not been good all season long. I'm going to have to give the nod to the Ducks here. I think in 6 games, I think the Oilers are going to just simply outscore them a couple times, but the Ducks just have the better, well-rounded team. They have the better goalie. They have slightly better defense, I think, too. They're a defensive team just by nature, so I think they're going to win in 6. But I think off the rip, a lot of people see this matchup and go, oh, yeah, Ducks. But it's going to be closer than what people think. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Right up. It's definitely yeah, I'll say Ducks.
Okay.
Yeah, 6.
Payment thoughts.
I'm gonna say the Ducks in 6 as well. I was on that team last season, and they're gonna have a fight on their hands no matter who they play because they just don't have the strength that they did last season.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So moving on to the last pick here, and we'll wrap up for the show. Excuse me. Bears and Thunder. Also, pretty good matchup here. This is a tough one to pick for me. Bears and Thunder very built. They're built similarly, again, roster-wise. I'm going to have to give a nod to Thunder here. I think that their forward line is slightly better. Their defense is better. And their goaltending is slightly better, I think. I think Rod is good. But like you said, Paint, still learning. And this is going to be his first playoff matchup. I'm going to pick the Thunder in 6. I think Scrub has the boys going. They've made a surge the last couple of weeks to move from I think it was 14th or 13th up to 9th now. And that was all since there's those trades. So again, really good forward lineup, slightly better, I think, just all around, maybe just slightly better than the Bears. Even though that the record doesn't say that. I'm going to give the nod to the Thunder here in 6. What are your thoughts here?
I'm going against the grain on this one. I'm saying Bears in 7.
Bears in 7? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think it is going to be close at the very least. Payment?
I'm going to say Bears in 6.
Bears in 6? Okay. Going with a homer pick. Okay, I like it. So, yeah. So, for right now, I'm just going to put the Rangers in 5, Wings in 7, and then Ducks in 6, and then mine would be Thunder in 6. You guys both picked the Bears. So, yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, this is going to be an exciting time with Moose playoffs beginning here. Yeah, so again, it's been pretty quiet the last couple of weeks, so this is kind of why I'm starting up the stream again. Sorry for touching the mic. And hopefully by this time next week, we have some good matchups to talk about for the following week. So I assume that this will be a weekly thing until playoffs end, unless it gets to the finals, when we only have so much to talk about. But yeah, we'll pick back up maybe next Friday or Saturday. Evil, Payment, thank you for joining me. And see